Hi, Susan. Happy Thirsty Thursday. How are you today?
Awesome. What do you have? What do we have on the stories list this
Yeah,
week?
well, this news has been going on all week, but I thought we should talk about it. I'd love to hear your take on it. You know how Georgia um, went blue last election, basically. However, the state is still very Republican
Mhm.
governor. Well, I think to stop future elections from going blue, they've instituted some new voting laws that people are saying are going to, hot stop black voters, people of color, from being able to vote easily. There's like new ID laws, less what's it called, pre-voting, and less vote-in ballots, all those kind of things.
Mm.
So Major League Baseball said, we're not going to have the All-Star game in Atlanta anymore. Take that, Georgia. We can't believe you're doing this. We don't stand for that. And we're putting our money where our mouth is. Other brands like Coca-Cola and Delta have also stepped up, saying that they are going to take action as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think we've seen a lot change over the past year or so, where I don't know if this sort of thing would have had a Major League Baseball stand up and say, we're out of here if this is what you're doing. What do you think?
Right. No, I think this idea of brands taking a stand and being more like not just making statements but action.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool. Like obviously there's a lot of layers to this whole thing and there's going to be much debate around it. Um, but yeah, I think it's really great that the brands who actually have the influence and the dollars to put into things in
Mm-hmm.
that area are taking a stand.
Yeah, and I mean, like we've been saying all year, right? Like the brands that we follow, we want to know that our values are aligning with their values. Like Gone are just like, oh, we like your pretty shoes, and therefore we like you, brand. We like your pretty shoes, but
Mhm.
also, what do you think about this, and what are you saying about this? And I think brands that were very vocal throughout this year on issues of race, if they didn't speak up and say something now as well, again, putting their money where their mouth is, we'd be like, hey, wait, why aren't you speaking up this time? So, I mean, good for them. And we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how this unfolds. What's next on our
Agree.
list?
Um, Sort of still staying in Atlanta. This is a Black woman-owned brand, a food brand called Slutty Vegan.
Love the name.
Right? Don't you love the name?
Yeah.
That's what stood out for me for the story. And this week they announced a partnership with Shake Shack
Hmm.
for a specific exclusive vegan burger that will be on Shake Shack's menu.
Cool.
And I thought that was interesting, particularly because of the naming of it. When you name something Slutty Vegan, you are clearly signaling to a specific group of people. You're probably going to annoy a lot of people on why it was named that way.
Hmm.
But that's, they've stayed with it. And the fact that like a mainstream chain like Shake Shack is now collaborating, so you're going to have to rock up to their counter and ask for a Slutty Vegan burger. I thought that's cool. So
Yeah, isn't Shake, I don't know my American fast food chains because we don't have Shake Shack here, I don't think, in Canada.
no, I don't think so.
But it seems to be the cool kid one. Like it's still like dirty fast food, but it's the cool kid version. So maybe this keeping in their cool kid, it's like, of course the burger we're gonna have is a Slutty Vegan burger. I don't know.
Agree.
I think
Yeah.
for some reason, even though I don't know Shake Shack, I feel like this aligns, this brand, this is brand alignment.
Agreed. Next up is, I think for the last year, for what we're almost coming up on 50 episodes of this
Oh yeah.
particular thing. And in the last year, perhaps we spoke about Burger King more than any other brand,
We
right?
surprisingly did. I never would have thought we would speak about Burger King so much, but they won our hearts with their smart marketing campaigns, their funny news jacking. Yeah. Sorry, back to what you
Yeah.
said, Susan.
So this week, it was actually on April 1st, Will, last Thursday. And, an announcement was circulating about how Fernando Machado, the global CMO of Restaurant Brands International,
Mm.
which, and the person behind much of the main campaigns that Burger King's had,
Mm.
like the Whopper, the Moldy Whopper, all of that. He resigned, and since it was on April 1st, at one point I was like, "Oh, is this like a giant gag?" But I was like, maybe it's too small of an audience for that gag
Yes,
because
yes.
Yeah, but it turns out he has, in fact, resigned, and he's moving on to a gaming company. And there's been a few pieces about the move, but nothing quite yet on how, why, and what we should expect from him. But it's a gaming company, and it's Fernando Machado, so I'm looking forward to cool things.
Yeah, me too. I do have to say, like, my opinion of Burger King did change over the year because of all of the humor and the wit. So yeah, so well, best of luck to him. And then lastly, I think you also wanted to talk about Wix versus WordPress and some maybe joking
Yes.
that got the web community all up in arms.
Yes, there was some ads put out, like videos from Wix, that showed a designer who was sort of sitting over there and waiting for the update button on WordPress to do its thing, and it wasn't. So they were taking a bash at WordPress and suggesting that a move to Wix might be better for all concerned. But it met with some serious backlash. People didn't like it. And if I was to comment on it, I'd say, I think it's a little bit of off targeting. Like, I think Wix is intended more for like DIY people who do their own websites, as opposed to WordPress. Requires a level of knowing how to use the platform. It's still not what some people would consider like coded from scratch websites. But that said, I think there was an audience mismatch there, and most people were eye rolling over the Wix ads, and there was a lot of backlash on Twitter and some of the other channels. So sometimes it's important to really, refocus on your audience, and like, just because you think something's super funny doesn't mean it's going to land, right? Yeah,
because when our favorite Wendy's on Twitter goes after every brand by being funny, a little ribbing of your competitor can work, right? But I guess in this case too, it's when you have two different audiences, that ribbing might not work as well. So yeah.
So what else? This week's episode of the podcast?
Yes, we had our friend Dion Vaz on. Dion's a marketing director for IQPC, which is a big international, pre-COVID and lockdown, they put on huge events for different industries all around the world. They were global. Now their offerings, they still do events, virtual events, but they use different platforms and different types of media and that sort of thing to still accomplish the same goal. So we did talk a little bit about that massive pivot her company had to do. But we really wanted to have her on, Susan, to talk about LinkedIn, because over the last year, she and some of her team have decided to create a little LinkedIn pod and use LinkedIn as part of their marketing funnel, to
move away from the idea of over-reliance on email.
And it's interesting because we see a lot of entrepreneurs and coaches and small business owners out on LinkedIn all the time, but you don't see those corporate leads going out there with the same vim, So we wanted to talk to her about that and how that was working for her.
Yes. So if you haven't heard that episode, there's a link in the comments.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, thank you, Susan. Have a great Thursday. I will talk to you soon.